The very same people of the Western media who criticize Saudi Arabia for insisting the Islamic dress code for women, support France, Germany and those countries that compel Muslim women to discard their headscarf. If the compulsion to adhere to the Islamic dress code violates the freedom of women, how can the coercion to remove the headscarf against their wishes be termed as an effort to protect the freedom of women? How can anyone justify the criticism of the Western media against the Turkish parliament's resolution of lifting the ban on Islamic dress code? The very same people of the Western media who interpret the dress of a Catholic nun as the symbol of divinity criticize the similar dress worn by a Muslim woman as a symbol of oppression and exploitation. If they find nothing wrong with the image and pictures of Virgin Mary dressed in the same manner as the Islamic dress code stipulates, then why should they find fault with the same dress code that is prescribed to Muslim women? The very same people of the Western media that criticized Saddam Hussein for illegally invading Kuwait and supported the invasion of Iraq by the US and its allies, support Israel for their continuous illegal occupation of Palestinian land. How can the Western media rationalize the Israel military aggressions as security measures and call the freedom struggle of Palestinians as terrorism? How can Iraq's invasion of Kuwait and Israel's invasion of Palestine and Syrian lands be seen from exactly opposite perspectives? The very same people of the Western media, which speaks volumes about rule of law and natural justice, supported the illegal invasion of Afghanistan by the US and its allies, killing thousands of innocent citizens of that land in retaliation for the September 11th attack of World Trade Center and Pentagon. Is it not a basic principle of law accepted universally that punishment or retaliation should be carried out only after the charges are substantiated and the guilt is proved beyond any reasonable doubt? Justice becomes a casualty when punishment is imposed before the verdict, or rather even before the trial. The very same people of the Western media that tagged several persons with Muslim names as terrorists without any evidence refused to brand Bush, the President of United States, as terrorist number one, and Tony Blair, the former Prime Minister of Britain, as terrorist number two, for killing thousands of innocent civilians and destroying the lives and livelihood of millions by launching a ruthless and unlawful war against Iraq, which posed no sort of threat whatsoever to the security of their nations. Remember, this attack was based on heaps of lies fabricated with ulterior motives. Why has not the Western media demanded an apology from these leaders for the lies that they spread about Iraq being an ally and partner of Al-Qaeda, providing not only a geographic base for them, but also close to providing them weapons of mass destruction, including nuclear bombs, which the country had developed clandestinely? The very same people of the Western media that supported the publication of cartoons depicting Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam as a terrorist and extremist on the basis of freedom of thought and expression did not criticize the verdict of Vienna court sentencing David Irving, the British historian, for stating on the basis of historical evidence that the Holocaust was highly exaggerated and that Hitler had not actually killed as many Jews as he had been accused of. The soldiers of the Western media did not utter a word of protest when a court in France imposed fine on French intellectual Garaudi for stating that the Holocaust was exaggerated. Where were the votaries of free speech when Ken Livingstone The duly elected London mayor was asked by a tribunal to stay in his house for 4 weeks without discharging his work as a punishment for asking a journalist who was a Jew by way of a joke, "Are you the Nazi guard in a concentration camp?" A British court acquitted Jeff Griffney, the leader of neo-fascist British National Party, for humiliating and insulting Muslims. And another court refused to proceed with the case filed against Salman Rushdie by Muslims, stating that according to British law, there is provision to punish anyone for blasphemy only if Christianity is abused and not when Muslims, Islam, or their prophet is abused or insulted. How can hurting the religious sentiments of Muslims be considered as freedom of speech, whereas any reference against Christianity or Judaism becomes blasphemy? What have the media done in these circumstances to act as a corrective force against such gross injustice? These are not rare instances of errors committed by the Western media. Such instances are numerous and widespread and clearly reveal the hypocrisy and double standards of the Western media and their extreme prejudice and blind hatred against Islam.